Hi, good morning, everybody. We have Mr. Rajiv Bhatia, and I would like to welcome you, sir, for an exclusive interview with Human Capital today. I am Neha Jain. I'm the managing partner for Human Capital. And before we start, I would like to briefly introduce you. So, Mr. Rajiv is the president and country head at Analytix Business Solutions India Private Limited. It's an outsourcing company which specializes in providing technology enabled and value driven solutions. Mr. Rajiv has over 35 years of experience and he's handled delivery and leadership roles in multiple companies across various business segments. He's adept at growing teams and leading change management programs and creating value for all internal and external stakeholders. First question that I would like to ask is in your career of 35 years in various organizations, you've handled a plethora of different roles in different business segments. What are the best practices, some of the best practices that you've learned over the years and are still relevant in today's time for potential talent in any field at global level?
Thank you. I think that's a wonderful question, and it's even more relevant in today's world. I personally feel, as a starting point, I would say that talent management is more about the how part rather than the what part. The what part is very well established that why we are doing talent management and things like that. But the how part in terms of what is the best way to do it. What are some of the practices that I've picked up in various companies that I've been associated with, and even in analytics where I'm currently employed as well. And we really, it's even more relevant for us because we're a small and mid-sized company, but we're excelling at what we do. So it's very important that we manage our talent well. In terms of best practices, the first thing I would say is that, see, not everyone views, not all talents view all the different benefits that we throw at them in the same way. Some prefer some talent, or some people prefer money, some people prefer recognition, some people prefer a different exposure, or give me a good project, give me a good exciting, challenging opportunity or things like that. Somebody would say, well, if you train me well, if you give me the latest tools and applications. So there are different things that work for different kind of people or so.
True.
I think it is incumbent upon the companies or the people who manage this talent to see that what suits who. So as I said, it's horses for courses. I will give to whatever the person wants the best. As I said, I'll give you a small example. There are people in our company whom we recognize as high potential performers. So, we took out people from the middle level management, and we said these are the people who are high potential according to us because of two or three things. One is their excellence in whatever they do, and their potential for the future as well. So we categorized a few people as high potential, and we said that these are the people who we have to groom and train for the next level of leadership, because we're growing. So if we're growing, we need the next level of leaders as well. So high potential is one of the practice that I found across the companies over the years, and it works in every company, that you identify a few strong individuals who are showing the inclination, showing the appetite for. Then what we found is that this high potential is more at the middle level management. What do you do at the junior most level? So that's where we found, I thought that a concept of an academy, a talent academy, where what you can do is you can actually get people who are very good at what they do, but they are plain graduates or they are plain freshers or so, and then you mold them as per what you want. So one of the ways of talent management at the youngest level of the organization is this talent academy. So we formed a talent academy as well, where we said that let's get some freshers, let some graduates, train them on the tools, applications, and the various processes that we do, so that we can mold them as per how do we want. rather than always relying on the market and kind of picking up people or so. The third practice that I found was that you know uh, depending upon what our clients want. You see, the clients in US or UK or any country for that matter, they'll always say that don't just give us plain delivery, give us some value addition as well, give us some additional benefits as well. So that's where they demand that give us some analysis, give us some additional insights of how we are doing things, not just so for example we deal in finance and accounting as one of the services. So if we just write their books of account and say this is your this is what your books is, that won't help. We have to give them some insight as well as to how is their overall operations looking and things like that. Now that's where we try and find out from our clients as to what is it that they want to look into, and then we feed that back in terms of how we groom our talent to so we call it a virtuous cycle.
Right.
It's a virtuous cycle. Yeah. So you tell me as a client what you want. I will build those skill set in my team because that will enable me to serve you well. So I found that this practice of virtuous cycle works a lot, and that's across the companies that I've seen. I remember that long years back, we had started a concept called talent college within the company. So what we're saying is that for every role, let us identify some skills and capabilities and competencies, and then see that is my current level of population able to handle that or not. So for example, if I have an accounting team leader who knows very good in terms of accounts and all, but his communication skills are not good or his soft skills are not good. So I'll teach him how to communicate, how do you explain or respond back to the client, how do you respond to your own team. So a person might be very good in terms of what he does, but he does not know how to handle his own team. So that conflict management is something that he doesn't know. So that's where a talent college will identify the skills and competencies in each level and then train them on that so that they can do their job well. So some of these practices are I found were very, very good. The last bit which I found has worked very well is, see, everybody is talented. According to me, everybody has got some hidden latent talent or so.
True.
Now, if you, for the lowermost people, if you encourage a concept called ideas factory or an Analytix, so a person who is doing his job day in and day out, but he has an idea because he does it more than what I would do. So if you encourage a platform, which we've done in our company as well, that why don't you contribute in terms of that, I'm doing this process, but I think this can be handled much better if we do this. And some of those ideas actually are fed back to the clients. And said that you've been doing it for donkey's years, you've been doing it for 20 years or so. But one of our junior most resources said that why don't we tweak it, right? So even that is talent management, because talent itself also means that there is something hidden in me, which I must encourage. So at the junior most level, this Idealytics, we have a program at Analytix called Idealytics, where we encourage people to give their ideas, right or wrong. If 2 out of those 100 ideas also work, maybe we'll save a lot of money for ourselves or our clients. So these are some of the best practices that I've seen over the years.
No, that's amazing, Mr. Rajiv, because I completely agree with you in terms of talent development, and there's a huge skill gap as well, which where you're taking graduates and fulfilling that skill gap also by training them, what you exactly need in the current scenario, and because of the COVID and other things that one is COVID and one is technology moving at a fast pace. Things are changing so rapidly that it's very, very important for organizations to come forward and take that one step ahead and train people and train employees and build that skill in them, so that their employability level, their capability level goes up. Yeah, I completely agree with that. So here comes my next question is, Analytics develops customizable solutions for businesses of all sizes and helps them navigate obstacles in a rapidly evolving competitive market. Can you elaborate a little on the initiatives that are being taken by the emerging company like Analytics for value addition to the BPO and KPO sector in India, from entry level to leadership level, for next 5 to 10 years?
Wonderful. It's got some answers that I've already given, but
Yes.
one of the answers was what you've actually given as well. I think the point about employability.
Mm-hmm.
See, the first thing we've done in terms of initiatives is, and that is a initiative which we have taken more for the KPO sector as such. See, we're saying that you work with us, we will ensure that we'll give you all those skill sets so that you are employable for the rest of your life. You know, our CEO always makes this statement: you work with me for 5 years,
Yeah.
I will see to it that you are never unemployed again. Whether you work with us or not, that's a separate issue, but for the larger interest, if
Yeah.
you work with us, because I'll ensure that I train you for the latest tools and techniques and applications that work in, the segment that you work in. But
Yes.
more than that, I'll also train you in social skills, I'll train you in communication, I'll train you in soft skills, I'll train you in terms of analytical skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do in terms of initiatives. First thing, we try and ensure that all our people are employable, so to speak. They'll always continue to remain employed. The second is, uh, see, because we are there in the US market, and because we are dealing with the SMB sector, the small and medium businesses sector, 44% of the US economy is driven by small and medium businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they cannot afford the tools and the delivery methodology of an Accenture or an IBM or an Infosys or a Wipro or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but they need still all those skills. They need
Mm-hmm.
all those services.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we as a company try and do is to provide to these small and medium businesses, the restaurants, the dental clinics, the veterinary clinics, or whatever. So, all these small and medium businesses in US that are our clients, they need all those services. Now, to provide them those needs and services, what we do is we say, okay, we will give you very sharp and focused knowledge. So there are applications which are very dedicated to providing those things. So what we do in terms of initiatives is we train all our employees on some of those applications.
Mm-hmm.
Now he may or may not require it for his immediate delivery, but he will require it 2 years down the line or so. So the
Yeah.
intention is that he knows the tools of the trade, and he
Mm-hmm.
can go back to his client and say, well, why don't you use this?
Yeah.
So the client says, I've got no clue. I've got no clue in terms of how do I handle it. But that's where
Training
the
training part comes in
that's
picture,
right.
where
That's
you're
right.
training employees.
The
So that.
third, as I said, is high potential managers. So we have this program of high potential managers. The Analytics Training Academy is another one. Then what we also do is something like communication skills. I think the importance of communication in a
Yes.
KPO sector is very, very
Very important.
undermined. It's very important, and
Yeah.
people really don't give emphasis on that. So what
Mm-hmm.
we do is we try and do this soft skills, and how do you interview? See, we're trying to get people. I have close to about 100 vacancies right now in my company, but I must train my managers on how to interview, because I'm sitting in a place like Ahmedabad, which is not Delhi, which is not Chennai, which is not Bangalore. Well, I'll not get a ready-made talent of pool or so.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is I need to make good with whatever is available to me.
True.
So I must train my managers in terms of the interview skills as well. And lastly, I think what we do in terms of initiatives, so interview skills, soft skills, specific skills in terms of tools and applications that the clients want, high potential people. And one thing we have, what we call as nurturing early talent.
Yeah.
So where very quickly we find out that we've just hired an accountant, it's a girl that we had, and she's a chartered accountant. But we found that she's very good at her writing skills. She writes wonderfully.
Yeah.
So what we did is we kind of encouraged that, and we said, well, why don't you write a blog for us? Why don't you write something for us where, so what is happening is not only is she using her accounting knowledge, she's also using her writing skills and becoming more and more confident in that.
Yeah.
So for the last 4 employee newsletters, she's been constantly contributing, and she's much more confident than what she was when she started or so. So some of these initiatives are basically to ensure that at all levels, at the senior leadership level. You also asked about the senior leadership level.
Yeah.
See, they are experts in their field. They're about 20 years, 25 years of experience or so. But one of the things that we realize is what got you here won't get you there. So, for example, somebody like me also, we need scaling up. Today, I'm X size of the organization. Tomorrow, I might be X plus 500 or X plus 1000 or so in a year's time or so. So, am I equipped to handle that increased scale of work? So, that's what we try and do at the senior leadership level, that all our senior leaders are ready to handle that scale, ready for that 30% growth or so. So at that level, it is more in terms of, how do you handle remote working? How do you handle, my team is in, let's say, Chennai, I'm sitting in Ahmedabad. Can I handle that team remotely well enough? The person is not in front of me. Can I trust him? Can I ensure, is he working all the time? Because he's working from home. So that mentality has to be created in all the senior leaders as well. So that's where we look at it from a scalability perspective. That's where the senior leadership is trained on.
No, definitely that gives a very, very good perspective, and you're doing a lot of work in terms of, you mentioned talent development, talent academy. Now specifically coming in, Gen Z coming into workforce, where mostly when you deal with BPO and KPO sector, you really have young generation in your hands, and you are equipping them with a lot of other skills apart from communication skills. Definitely are very, very important wherever they go in life. It's not only going to be I'm sure BPUs, and plus you are giving them an opportunity to take out their hidden talent and use it in other forms. So definitely it's a plus point, and people would look forward to working with Analytix at the same time, because now when we started with the first question, people do want to know what is they are getting, and that does include what is the training and development, what is the culture of the organization. At the same time, it's not now anymore only the numbers or the package that they look at. They look at a complete scenario. They look at the, as I said, company culture, training, skill development, what all will we learn and will help us enhance ourselves. So that's a very, very important step that Analytix is taking forward. Finally, I'll come to my last question. With COVID-19 taking a huge toll across all the sectors and across all the industries, what are the steps that has been taken by Analytix as a company, where you had to so apart from lockdowns, and where there were lockdowns in the US also, and there were lockdowns in India as well. So what are the steps that Analytix took as a company? One, you did mention that with senior employees or senior leaders and high performing employees who are at senior positions, working from home was, to start with, I'm sure might have been a challenge. But apart from that, what other challenges and what other steps did you take?
See, I think it was a very unfortunate thing. It was it was something nobody had predicted. I normally prepare for a business continuity plan that today, if somehow my the power situation goes away or something like that, I have provisions for how do I manage it, because I've got about 600 plus people that are working throughout and we have to give delivery in the next 2 hours as well. There are times when we have to turn around documents in 2 hours or things like that, medical billing, accounting, audiovisual, and things like that. But we had never planned for, nobody had planned for,
Nobody had planned. Yeah,
a
that's
business
true.
continuity like this. So the first thing was, we said confidence building measure. The first thing was, how do we get the confidence built in them? So within 3 days of the prime minister's announcement that there is a situation is happening, in fact about a week before, uh, I think around the 25th or 26th of March or so, we were ready. We had moved 550 people at home. We said, if we have life, then only we'll be able to deliver.
True.
So we moved 550 employees back to their homes, including myself, and we
Yeah.
said, let's enable the work from home environment. So we
Yeah.
said, we'll make available internet for you. We'll move your workstations. We'll move your desktops. In some cases, we even had people who had problems. They could not. So we enabled that we can move some of the desks as well. People could only work in the office chairs, so we moved those chairs as well. There were a lot of trauma, a lot of people dying as well. We had close to about, at one point in time, 110 people who were affected, 50 or 60 of my employees and 50 of their own relatives or so, 110 people affected or so. So what we did is, we said we will give you unlimited financial assistance. uh, See, if I have a family and two members of my family are under COVID,
Yeah.
even if I am well to do, it is very difficult if I am procuring
Oh,
an injection or a blood bottle or an hospital or whatever. So we said we will give you financial assistance. 42 of our employees got that financial assistance from us, and we kind of distributed about 43 lakhs, 44 lakhs or so. This is just in the first wave, so to speak. We also ensured that, because there was a lot of mental trauma,
true.
we started organizing a lot of meditation sessions, a lot of sessions where confidence is given to the people of how to handle it or so. Every manager was told that you do a huddle in the morning and you only reassure, right? You only reassure, you don't talk about work, you only ask people in terms of how they're feeling, um, or so. And that was done across. So I did it with my team did it with their team, and it went on and on. Then we formed a specific COVID help desk. It was a 6-member team whose only job was to ensure, to find out which person is affected, how can we help, and say, this hospital has got a bed available, this hospital has got blood available, this is the injection. I got this injection from my relative, but he's much better now. Why don't you take it?
Yeah.
And we said, let's not bother about the price, we will pay in between and then we can talk about it later. So all those things were done, and that is how we kind of ensured that most people who were kind of affected were then what we did is, we did about 750 hours of just engagement work, which means, see, people have never worked at home, people have never worked in such a situation.
Yes.
So and after about months, they started getting fatigued. uh, See, I have a come in time and I have a going out time when I come to office, but I
Yes.
have no come in time and no go out time when I work from home. So I remember myself, I used to open up my laptop at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and even at 11, because you could get an email or a call where somebody is impacted or somebody is affected also. So we did about 752 hours of engagement where our HR continuously talked about these various sessions of, don't panic, don't worry, this is what you can do in terms of your hygiene, this is what you do in terms of, making them aware as to how they could have that mental strength element built in also. What we did at that time initially was also that we started encouraging people in our company to walk. We tied up with an online app
Yeah.
where the more you walk, the more
Yeah.
you donate some money to for some noble cause.
Yeah.
And we started flashing that, saying that today, Satish, our CEO, walked for about 10,000 steps, and he raised about 72 rupees for that. Rajiv walked for about, let's say 5,000 steps, he raised about 28 rupees. And that was circulated across. And that motivated a lot of people. And we donated about 2.87 lakhs for just from that app itself to this thing. Uh, then, as I said, this COVID help desk that we had was 24 by 7. So anybody could call those five or six people
Mm-hmm.
and kind of say, oh, my XYZ is not getting well, or things like that. Then that was just in the first wave. The second wave, when we realized that this is much more severe,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't want people to feel perturbed that, I've just come out of COVID, I've used about 20 days of my leave, and I only had 20 days,
Mm-hmm.
right? 20 days. Now, only God forbid if I get affected, then I'll use it. But
Mm-hmm.
that does not mean that the 20 days that I was actually in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
my hard earned privileged leave or casual leave was kind of eaten away. So that gave them an assurance that, that I'll not be without pay, so to speak, right? Because it's not about the money, it's about that financial comfort kind of thing. Our training coordinator, our training manager, what he did is he scanned through the entire web and found out that there were about, let's say, 1,000 plus trainings which were available complimentary from various universities in the world.
Yeah.
I could do project management, I could do financial management, I could do communication management. So those kind of things. And we said these are free. So go ahead and enroll yourself. And I did about 7 trainings, and every time it was highlighted within, a lot of people said, "Oh, if Rajiv is doing it, let me also go ahead and enroll for this thing." So it was a kind of a diversion, but those were some of the things that we kind of did in terms of. So I would say, apart from hospitalization, whether it was financial assistance or this COVID help desk, I mean, I have seen people run around for injections for somebody else.
Yes.
So that's where the team has helped really. So
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And yeah, so thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv, for today's session. The things that you've mentioned here, what Analytics did, and supported the way they, supported employees. It's really commendable. Um, yeah. So I can only imagine what people have gone through, and when an employer is by their side, it just makes a lot of difference in terms of handling things. One is family is always there, but even in the back of your mind, you do have that worry that what am I going to do with my job? I can't take so many leaves. So definitely, yes, when you are telling them that don't worry, first resolve the COVID issue first, because that's more important, and then we can work latter things out probably later. So yes, it does help a lot.
just two more facts which I wanted to say. We didn't lay off one single person. One
Wow.
single person was not laid off. And secondly, our employee referral percentage was, let's say, at about 40-45% before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
After
Mm-hmm.
COVID, it's about 55-60%, which means more and more employees are confident that, this is a place where I can refer a friend or a family or something.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much today. We
Actually,
really had a nice conversation. I hope you enjoyed too. And
yes, it was a lovely conversation, and I mean, good to know that you kind of empathize on what all did we do.
no, thank you. I mean, the things that you're doing currently are amazing. In terms of specifically, as you said, training from the junior roles to the senior role, and you do have a talent academy. You're managing the skill gap. Everything is taken care of. That's amazing. And specifically working on communication skills of employees. That's very important. And once a person learns those communication skills, it's not only going to be used on at Analytics. They can be used further in on his or her life, or further in any role they do. So yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.